Trina Lee, you're back, girl.
Back.
You were one of my very first podcast guests on this podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I realize that.
Yeah.
I like it.
You're one of the OGs, so it's been a while since you've been on.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Welcome back to the Alchemical Life podcast. And I started these segments. I love how I'm going to tell you this now. I haven't told anybody this. She's like, I have no idea what.
All of this information you probably should have known before.
Yes, I'm starting these segments called Alchemical Off-Road.
Okay.
And it's because I have all these things I want to talk about, and I don't want to make a new podcast, and I'm too lazy. So the Alchemical Off-Road podcast episodes are really for us to just talk about whatever the hell we want. And I wanted to have you on because, and we did talk about this before, podcast guests, listeners, but I wanted to have you on because you have a really powerful story, and it's one that I personally resonated with more, even more recently. And I think a lot of people who are going through it in life, who are struggling, who are in this area of uncertainty, in the kind of like why, what, when, how, where God is going on, they can really resonate with this story, because the cool thing about your story too is you've been able to go through it and now be on the other side of it. And so I want to open the floor really to you to discuss the craziness that has been the craziness that's been your life.
Oh,
yeah, no, but seriously though, I was telling Blaine this before this afternoon when I was talking to him, but you're seriously so resilient, so badass. You don't talk about it a lot. And it's not something that you flaunt or put out there, but you have a real strength and power to you and in you that I don't even think maybe you fully recognize. But what you've been through is seriously no small thing. And it's not like this is also the first hard thing you've been through either. Right. You know, you've been through other stuff that you just haven't even talked about. So, what's been going on in the last couple of years of your life, girl? Tell me what's going on in your life.
So I actually just to kind of
your mic is off. I'm glad we caught that.
Hello.
I
know. Well, maybe your mic picked up my loud voice.
Yeah, I'm sure it did.
Be okay.
No, it'll be fun.
So I don't know where to begin. Let's see. A little bit about Katrina and her type C personality, I guess, is there are certain areas in my life.
What's type C?
So type C, you know how type A is like everything's planned, everything's organized, you know,
Yeah.
Type B is like, oh, I forgot my wallet, I'm living my best life, Apple Pay. Type C, I feel like you get to like dip in and out of both depending on what's going
okay.
on.
I resonate with that. All right.
So I probably was a little bit more type A pre-kids, you know, like couldn't go to sleep without my house being clean, or wanting everything organized, or needing to know all the details of a trip or things like that. And then had kids and they like wreck all of that for you. So then I like dibble dabbled into type A and type B.
You're like, we're going to have to try this type of thing or else I'm going to kill them.
Yeah, exactly. Or I may die.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of my life up until a few years ago was very like strategic, very planned, very clear. I'm going to save this much money every paycheck. I'm going to spend this much money all the time. This is where I want to be in 3 years. This is where I want to be in 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to put down on a house. It's going to be this much square footage. Just everything. I had the answer. I'm an incredible overthinker. And so that's what I did. Overthought everything, came up with the answers to everything. And we were going to follow that to a T. You weren't going to tell me any different.
Right. This was your life even before you had been dating, or
oh yeah,
like you were like, this is what I'm gonna do.
Oh yeah,
and I'll just find somebody to fit that shit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I truly thought about it in like a husband way per se, but I knew for me it's like couple of kids, decent home, you know,
however I get those couple of kids, whatever
it looks like,
whatever needs to be looking like, I'm getting
very
them.
Career minded. Like I knew I didn't want to be a stay-at-home mom, which I wouldn't mind maybe hindsight, but like that's kind of where I was going with it.
Like,
is
now
I was
it sounds pretty good.
Right. So I would say I also maneuvered through my relationships, my marriage, and the kids that way until like 2022. So we had a specific savings plan, scooted certain amount into our savings. We never carried debt on our credit card. We, just all these things. Like I shop at Costco, Marshalls, TJ Maxx. I don't spend money on anything at all.
Yeah, is money money's a thing for you?
Money's a thing for me because financial stress is probably the only stress that I feel like you can't like mentally pull yourself out of
Until you have the money.
Like actual things have to happen that are tangible. So this isn't like a mind game. This isn't like a perspective shift. It's like you're in debt or you're not, it's
Right.
very black and white. And so that made me very uncomfortable. So I always liked to be in a very good financial spot. And I busted missions at work and just really, we were in a great financial spot.
Mm-hmm. And you had your 3 kids at this point.
Yes. I had all 3
the
kids.
babies.
We had all 3 kids, financially recovered from a wedding, financially recovered from IVF, financially was
those expensive blessings.
Right. So we were in a really good spot. But Brett did battle with addiction. And I did know that before we got married. I don't think I realized the level it was at until we got married because we were so young. So drinking was kind of like widely accepted everywhere you went, And 2022, kind of everything just fell the fuck apart, basically. Like, addiction got the best of him. He ended up going into rehab. Our marriage was on the line, and all of a sudden I was a single mom with 3 kids, and everything that I knew and everything that I planned for kind of went up in flames. My workout routine ended because I was a single mom. The way I used to navigate life changed because I was a single mom for a couple of months. And then he lost his job. And then we were in like financial strain because now we went from a 2-income household, a pretty good income on his end, to an unemployed person. And then me and our kids were in the thick of daycare.
Yeah. And there's a couple of things that immediately come to my mind when you're telling me this, which is one, how were you feeling? And 2, what were you trying to plan? Because I can imagine your brain being like, okay, well, we can fix, and we gotta fix, and this happened, and that happened, and
I could be breaking into 1,000 pieces and compartmentalize that into a bucket and turn my logical brain on with like, what do we need to do? So that's what I was feeling. I was breaking into 1,000,000 pieces because this life that we built, he is such an amazing dad and quite honestly was like my best friend. And so I was just kind of like, how did we get here? Like, how did we get here? And what do I do in one breath? And then in the other breath, I was like, all right, let me survey the house. What would I need to fix? We're going to put this baby up for sale because this is like too much for me to handle by myself. Immediately, I was like, all right, I'm on my own. I'm probably going to be on my own now. We're probably going to get divorced. So I'm like, I can't manage this whole house. It's just me and the kids. Like, put it up for sale. I want to get something with no yard, no nothing. So that kind of was my plan. And that's what I did. I cleaned the house, reached out to my realtor who sold me the house and put it up for sale.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what then happened? Because right now, I assume marriage is on the line.
Mm-hmm.
I assume Brett is also dealing with multiple. He's one on the struggle bus personally, but he's also on the struggle bus relationally. He's on the struggle bus as dad. He's struggling. So what happens? Like, when does where is this timeline of when he gets out of rehab? How does that integrate? Did he, is he staying at home? Is he going, are you like, you ain't coming home?
Yeah.
What does this all look like?
So, what's crazy is like the Katrina in me was like, I owe him nothing. you're on your own. I make enough money to keep us afloat if like we sell the house, that kind of stuff. And I wasn't there mentally for some reason. I had a lot of grace. Like I had a lot of grace in my heart because I'd known Brett for so long and really just saw the best parts of him. And I was like, those were real parts, And if you really live with addiction, you realize that it's a true disease that they're battling all the time. So I kind of had to separate two things. One was like, where do I stand in my marriage? That wasn't important right now. So the second thing was like, would the kids benefit from him being in their life or benefit more if he's out of their life? And that kind of is what guided everything, because the answer was that they would benefit with him being in their life. They would be at a heavy detriment with him not in their life because he was such an amazing dad. So that kind of ruled the roost with Grace is I can't hate somebody and then want my kids to be a forgiving heart and give grace and love the same person because they're going to follow my lead. You know what I mean? And so I was like in such a good place. Thankfully, I mean, I'd love to say that I worked at being in that place, but honestly, I felt so much grace towards him and so much love towards him. So that's kind of how we rolled. He got out of rehab and he was only supposed to spend the day with the kids. And it was a great day. And he asked if he could stay, which I found like it was such a silly moment for me because I was like, we built this house together. Like we built this life. Like this is our house. We worked so hard for these are our kids that we fought so hard for. So I was like, oh my gosh, of course you can stay, And then one day turned into a weekend and it was like in December. So it was near the holidays and just each day it was like, can I stay? Can I stay? And I'm like, of course, of course. And then we came to the conclusion that it was just better if he was there because the kids needed to feel like we were a unit. We were still a family, regardless of where our marriage ended up. We were a family. We will always be a family. We were the only kids that we were going to be able to have because by the time all three kids were born, we had to do IVF because Brett used to have cancer. And then I had to have a hysterectomy when the girls were born. So we knew
like this
unit is locked down.
Yeah.
It's just us.
This is the fam.
This is us.
Yeah.
So yeah, we decided that we were going to be separated and prioritize the kids and just kind of put house rules in place accordingly.
That's crazy. You guys kept the house.
We kept the house. So a few things happened, before he got out of rehab. One of them is I had to establish.
How long was he in rehab for?
About 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to establish a new routine because that's how my brain works. And I also realized that that's how kids' brain works. So their whole world just got turned upside down. A major player in their life just like disappeared for a little while. And so one of the routines we started was we went to Panera every Saturday, got everything bagels and pumpkin muffins and all that jazz. And then I remember that a year or so prior, one of my friends had mentioned that their dad was a pastor at a church. And we had kind of talked about like my qualms with church. I was raised Catholic, not knocking any Catholics, but it's a rough go. It's, there's a lot of rules. There's a lot of boundaries that aren't very clear. There is a lot of perceived judgment. And it's just kind of a heavy religion. And so I rebelled against religion for quite a while. And I was very like, I'm just a good person and I'm spiritual. And all that matters is that I'm a good person on the inside.
Yo, the I'm spiritual trope is one I feel like everybody's
was a
got
flag I flew high.
Girl, me too.
Yeah,
I'm telling
very
you.
high. I'm like, I'm a good person. I'm better than some of these people that go to church every day. And that's kind of where I stood when I was trying to figure out a routine. I was like, he's calling me right now. I was like,
feature Brett on the podcast.
I know. I was like, I really do need a routine for the kids. There is a lot of good that came out of me being raised in the church. Like we had CCD and we had like all these things. There was just also some bad. And so I'm like, I would like that good part. You know, they were too young to be in like a sports culture or anything like that that could give them community. And I needed community, and I could only give them so much community. So I took them to this church. I took them to the church, and they separate them into a little daycare. Everybody was just really sweet, really nice, very understanding that my kids were acting like they were being murdered, being separated from me in the daycare. But they were just angels there. And I sat in the church. I was kind of nervous because I had 3 kids. At the time, my wedding ring was not being worn by me. And I'm like, here we go. I'm going to burn the minute I walk in these doors. This heathen has 3 children, no husband. And I got in there, and I couldn't even really tell you what the sermon was. I just remember that I was like, wow, that was so real. Like, that was so real. I think I'll try it again. And just Saturday was Panera. Sunday was church. And we kept going and going. And the kids just grew to love it. And I didn't realize how much I needed that, like how much I needed them to have that connection. I didn't realize how much I needed that connection. In the very beginning of it, I was kind of just to myself about it. And I have a friend, Ty, and he was also kind of in a similar place, maybe a little closer to faith than I was. And I was able to lean on him a lot with just some questions I had, some hesitation I had. And he was just also very real with me. So I just felt like my approach this time was just so authentic that I was like, we'll just kind of see where this goes.
Yeah, and I feel like with, because I've had a similar in terms of I was there, I left, I came back to the church, you know. It always this time around felt more real and deeper because I chose it.
Yeah.
You know, as opposed to I was raised in it.
Yeah.
And I so appreciate the structure it gave me, like you were talking about. I so appreciate the things that growing up in the church did provide. It also had its issues because in every church there are people. People are sinful, and and you know, and not everybody gets it right. And the more church becomes a business, the more the business takes over, usually the church.
Yeah,
and so I feel that really hardcore. But it's interesting that in this process, you didn't really start as much in the faith in this whole, you know, situation of crap that you went through.
Mm-hmm.
But I also find it interesting because you had this almost divine interaction in the situation with Brett, your husband, in that you said, I don't know why, but I just had a lot of grace and it really wasn't hard for me to give.
It really wasn't. Like, I really would love to, and him and I talk about this all the time, where I feel like I get this like badge of honor because I gave him so much grace, but it's what I felt. Like,
That's
I didn't
crazy.
have to work for it. And one of the conversations we've had, I can't tell you what the timeline is because I don't know, but he was like, why were you so kind to me when you had every reason not to be?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be like, because I'm awesome and I'm mature and I'm like above my, you know, all these
evolved.
things. Like, I just really work on myself and meditate.
I'm evolved, Brett.
Right. Like, you're welcome. But really, it's what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
I wanted to be kind. I just saw someone that I love, and whether or not we were going to stay married was irrelevant. You know, the fact that he was who he was to our kids was enough. So I was like, no matter what, we're a unit. We are family, you know, and I love him. So, I mean, we started going to church pretty regularly.
And this was just you and the kids at the time?
Just me and the kids. So one thing that I appreciate about this journey is that it's really just been mine. There's been no timeline. There's been no pressure. There's been no expectation. And I think that I understood that in that moment. Because I would say that some point in our marriage, probably before kids, maybe I was trying to get into a church thing because I felt like that's what we needed to do. And there was this like, are you coming to church with me, you know, type thing. And it was a source of contention. But this time not that I didn't care if he went to church with me, but it was my thing. Like, I'm going to church because I need my cup to be filled. I need to start my week off in a good place. I need the kids to be around people who love them.
Yep.
And that was enough for me. And I knew that he was already working on so much for himself that I'm like, you being sober, that's good for me. Like that's step one. That's what we need for these kids. So I had this very open invitation, but definitely not any expectation.
Yeah.
And I want to say, I think I went to church for almost like close to a year, 9 months or so before he actually stepped foot in the door.
In the church with you. Yeah. And was like, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I think he came in and people were like, oh shit, is she married?
Yeah.
Like,
because you were still not wearing the ring.
Still not wearing the ring. Yeah. Still not wearing the ring. And he came. I think that he really felt like how authentic it was. Kind of was probably, I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but if it's anything like what happened with me, battling, like, was this real or am I desperate for connection or, because it felt so authentic, but then you're like, why have I never felt this in a church before?
That is such an interesting question analysis of, because that is something that since I came back to the faith, I think sometimes you find it when because you're looking for something, anything, you don't realize how much you need it. It's like, I know that I'm not doing well.
Right.
And I need this. And so when you start kind of coming up out of that bad spot, you question, did I really just need this because I was not good? Like, do I still really believe this?
Right.
Is this something that's actually real to me? Or is it something that just keeps me like here another day?
Right. Because at that time, that's different from like where I am today. I wasn't walking in faith.
Yeah.
I was going to church.
Yes.
Because I was like, I would like to go to church.
Such a difference.
Yeah.
In those two things. Like
it was
night and day.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, we started there. He would come whenever he wanted. So any Sunday I'd be like, I'm leaving at this time, and he would come or he wouldn't come.
Yeah.
Like, it was totally up to him. I was appreciative whenever he came because I just wanted to share like this connection that I had. And then I remember I was like really overwhelmed. I mean, I was overwhelmed probably for years, but I was really overwhelmed because now that the dust has settled and the big things are being worked on, like sobriety and things like that, now it's like, okay, where are we financially? We're a one income household with a lot of kids. They're all in daycare. And we have a healthy savings to take us through like maybe a year on a good day. Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, so let's come up with a plan because I'm in HR. So I know how long it takes to get a job and all of that. And so I'm like, we need a buffer. We need to start as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And so it was weird because I am such a crazy person, or I was about finances. I mean, crazy person. Like when I was waitressing, I was putting 10% of my tips into a shoebox. Like I'm always figuring out a way to be financially okay. I missed out on all my spring breaks because I didn't want to spend money because I could take double shifts as a waitress. Like probably not in a good way. I've gotten a lot better and focused more on memories and stuff, but I'm just a panicky person with finances because I just feel like it has a chokehold on you. You can't just easily climb out of it. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna try this. I'm like, I'm giving it to you, God. like I'm about to spiral. So I'm just gonna ball this baby up. I'm gonna toss it up to you.
The financial ball.
The financial stress ball. Yeah. Like I was like, I don't know our way out of this. This wasn't in my plans. All the plans that I made. This is a detour.
Yeah.
I don't have the answer. I can't predict the future, obviously, because I wouldn't have predicted that what happened. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to give this one to you.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to take this one. Like I gotta raise these kids, and Brett and I are figuring out how to communicate with each other as co-parents instead of husband and wife. I'm still running my full-time job that I was doing the whole time. I'm trying to get back into fitness, so that I don't lose myself. And so I'm like, there is no room on this plate for this thing I can't control.
Right.
So that was kind of the first step that I took in, like, let's give this a go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how this goes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, honestly, with that, there was no like, oh, okay, like I gave it to God, now all is well. There was still a lot of struggle, and there was a lot of struggle for a year. But the difference is with this struggle is there was this foundation of peace.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just knew and understood that God is going to provide in the way that I need.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not be money.
Yeah.
But he's going to figure it out. And like, my job is to start my journey, stay committed to my faith, and just kind of see where that takes me. So that's kind of where that began.
It's interesting. It's the way that you need, not the way that you want.
Yeah.
Like, very particular word difference there. Because what we want, first of all, it's so funny that we think we know what we want.
I know, seriously.
It's so cute.
With the details that we know.
Yeah. It's so cute.
Like 10%.
It's so cute. I'm sure that God is kind of like, y'all so adorable.
Yeah, so
like,
cute.
you thought you wanted this.
Right.
This is where this leads.
Right.
Anyways, y'all won't get it. I'll just you guys don't get it. Let me just steer it this way though.
Right.
But so you're at a place where you're giving this financial thing to God. Brett is still unemployed. You guys are co-parenting. But as we sit here now, I know it happens.
Yeah.
So how do you get there? You got a ring on your finger now.
Yeah.
Like, you've got, you've got an incredible job.
Yeah.
That you're absolutely exhausted from.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
That Brett's got a job. So
sometimes I forget the details because it's like crazy what a stark difference my life is today than it was. But we kind of muscle through. Brett gets a job where he kind of kills it. And we start to slowly financially recover, but oh so slowly because we just were so behind, but really magical things happen. Like, we just really learn how to communicate with such respect. We had this common goal because at this point our marriage is still on the back burner. So we have not discussed necessarily what's happening because our idea is get the family back on our 2 feet and then we'll go from there. So we're learning how to communicate with each other so that we can just operate as a peaceful, united household. And it's almost like with that marriage thing on the back burner, we really just got to focus on what we love, which is our kids, and respect each other for who we were, which were parents to the kids that we love. And there was this newfound like connection and respect. And obviously, like, he's sober. So that opens, it opens itself to me seeing more consistent times of the little dollops that I saw before. But if you deal with addiction, what you see isn't enough. You need time. You got to see consistency and time, and you got to see stressful moments and sad moments and all 100%. That, and just kind of how do we make it? You know what I mean? Because fresh off of trauma, like, you're going to do great. You know what I mean? Like, fresh off of getting in trouble, you're going to be on your best behavior, So, we were just learning that. And I remember we took a hike. Saturdays were reserved for family day. So we kind of had our independent plans, but Saturdays were off limits. We spent the day, the 5 of us always, so that the kids knew that we were a family, we were together. And we were taking a walk on the Greenway. We were climbing up some rock and everybody was jumping down the rock to Brett. And so he helped me get down. And it was probably the first time that we had like an actual physical encounter, like a hug or any closeness, because we've been very like, we are co-parent roommates in this house, raising these kids, respect for each other. You're in charge of the kitchen and the floors. I'm in charge of laundry. Like, it was straight up.
Yeah.
And it was a good hug. And it was just kind of one of those hugs that I think both of us walked away from it without telling it to each other. Like, is this over? Right.
Okay.
So
that made me feel something.
Yeah, you're like, hold on a second. Yeah. And
this is how we got 3 kids.
No, actually, no, we did
actually,
IVF.
No, yeah.
But
shout out
anyway.
Blessings. Expensive blessings.
But I would say that kind of started things, but I was in turmoil with it all because I was fresh in this journey and really reaping the benefits of walking in faith. And I don't mean in regards to blessings per se, but in regards to just a mental state. Like just really peace washing over me all the time. Like going into things just feeling really good. And I remember thinking to myself, I want to be with someone who is deep in their faith. Like, I think that is a requirement for me. And that is not who Brett is,
Yeah.
you know? And
It's just not where he was in life.
it wasn't. And I was at a comfortable place where I was like, I know that we're going to co-parent fine. So like, if we get divorced, we've got this unit like down. And that was probably one of my worries. So that was checked off. So I was really thinking like, am I just feeling things or am I overthinking it or, you know, what's important to me? And I'm like, okay, we're just going to take it day by day, but faith is important to me. It's very important.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to my friend, my best friend down in Miami, and she was telling me, you know, she knows like my whole life, you know, everything that's ever happened to me since I was like 11. And she was like, you know, faith begets faith. So just keep focusing on your faith. All right, fair enough.
Amen.
Yeah. Like, that sounds good. So that's what I did. And then over time, he was coming every Sunday. There was Sundays where I couldn't make it and he would take them. There were like, maybe I was at a race or something and he would take them. And again, Ty, our friend, was like a very active participant in this whole thing because he loves Brett and he loves me and he loves our family. And so he would kind of nurture like talks about faith and things like that. And then Ty and I prayed that he would be a guide for Brett or an open door for Brett into faith and things of that nature. And even while we were praying, which like is terrible, but I'm going to be real. I'm like, you keep praying, Ty.
Yeah.
Like, much appreciated. Prayers always welcomed. But like, don't hold your breath. Like,
Yeah.
I've known this guy for a minute. Like, he is in support of me going to church. He goes here and there, but he's not gonna, it ain't gonna work.
Yes. So knowing who Brett is now, I can 100% see it. I also, it's interesting because I think Brett is so similar to Blaine in so many ways, you know? They're such bros. they're such logical bros.
Yeah.
And I so see that, like that, just that kind of where you're just like, love ya.
Yeah.
And, you know, God's all powerful and all that, but I don't know how powerful he is with these people because they just don't really, they just don't really do that God thing like that. And they've kind of never really believed it. And it's kind of like weird and woo woo and almost like, I think Christianity's in some capacity, it feels a little feminine to those kinds of guys. Kind of like, that's a little like girly. That's like some girly shit to go sit there.
I think it's not only that, but it's like, and I can't speak for Blaine, but like with Brett, who is a natural commitment phobe, like not necessarily in a relationship, but like two things. Yeah. I feel like Christianity's idea of all in is not the actual all in.
That, yes.
You know, like, and I may get some hate for this, but I know that you're not supposed to curse and you're not supposed to this and you're not supposed to that, but really and truly, you're supposed to just walk with God, just be with him. You know, he made you who you are and you're going to evolve the way you're supposed to evolve. And if you're not there yet, the fact that you're taking steps in that journey, it's good enough.
To me, it's like almost like God just wants to be with you and he's always there, but he wants you to want to be with him.
Yeah.
And like, God's always seeking you out, but when you finally seek back, he's like, finally, yes. And he really wants you as you are. And so that, I think when people say walking in faith, this is where like the super long-term churchgoers or religious zealots start pissing me off because I get it. It's like, when you're walking in faith, there are actions that you want to do to continue to walk in faith better.
Right.
But what those actions are and what that looks like and where in your walk you are looks so different. And it doesn't
it's
mean
yours.
and it
It's
doesn't mean
totally
and it-
yours.
yes, and it doesn't mean that you're a worse Christian. It doesn't mean that you're not a full Christian.
Right.
It doesn't mean any of those things. And
Right.
it's interesting too because I actually see that both Brett and Blaine, like they're actually very intense individuals.
Yeah.
So when they do commit to something fully, they commit to it fully and deeply.
Yeah.
And so I empathize with. I'm the same way. I think you are too. And that's also why I think you had so much patience with Brett, because it's like I totally get it.
Yeah.
Like I get why you don't want to, why you're not there with the faith.
Because
and
that was me.
And I don't want you to even pretend to be there. Like when you get there on your own time, because it truly is something. It's like until you're ready to fully commit to it, it's just not gonna work. Like it's just not a thing.
Like, you realize that it's such a personal journey. And if there's any rush or any high expectation, you just kind of take away the like beauty of it.
Yes.
Because like so many things that I think, like the way I think has changed, the way I approach people has changed. And it's not because someone told me that that's how it's supposed to be. It's because it's how I feel.
Yeah.
Because when I'm reading the word and when I'm going to church, I'm like, yes, this is speaking to me. You know what I mean? And so you don't feel the urge to rebel. And I know, we were going on a birthday trip for him that we were mixing in with a conference. And I remember feeling like, and we didn't necessarily have like a super official conversations about it, but I was like, I think I'm ready to like put my ring back on. Like, I think that this is it. And he hadn't committed to faith or anything, but I felt like the family we built and the future I thought we were going to have was lining up.
And how far after he started going to church with y'all was this conversation roughly?
Let's see. Maybe, so let's see, 2022. I put my ring back on last year. So
2 years?
Yeah, he maybe was going to church for like a year.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, before I officially put my ring back on, we were catching the vibe that we're in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
Like we are meant to be with each other and build this family. We were blessed with these kids for a reason, and it's beyond co-parenting. But I think that there's some trauma assigned to it because you don't know, like you felt so secure at one point before. I mean, it's different, but what your brain tells you when you spiral is like, what happens if it doesn't work out again?
Right.
Like why move forward? You might take 3 steps back. But what faith tells you is that even if that happens, it doesn't matter. Because God's got you my back, from Forrest Frank. But anyway,
shout out Forrest Frank.
I know, right? He's got some hitters.
He does.
But so Ty and I prayed, and I'm like, man, I hope he doesn't get let down like I really love Ty. I love that Brett has him in his life. And I want to say 48 hours later, I'd have to look back at my group text message with Ty and see Brett texted Ty asking Ty to mentor him and guide him in his faith.
That is powerful.
And Ty texted me and was like, you won't believe this. I'm like, hit me. And I'm thinking, we about to have some tea. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And he tells me, Brett reached out to me. And I said, about what? And he tells me he wants me to guide him in his faith. And I was like, okay. So I'm sitting in the car and I'm like,
yeah,
okay. But I kind of leave it alone, right? Because there's intent and then there's, bring it into fruition, right? And sometimes those things get disconnected. So I'm like, cool. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. He's going to continue doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then he was going to church with me. We had a whole thing, and then one day he's like, hey, they're starting a Bible study on Wednesdays. Do you mind if I go? And I was like,
who are you? And what have you done with my husband?
Truthfully, and no disrespect, but just like, I was like, no, I mean, go. I got kids, like go. And then he just started going to Bible study and like, And, and then he became embedded in the church community. Like he knows more people than I know at the church now. I've been going there for like a year longer than he was. He really just started committing himself. And then I started seeing his walk in faith at home.
See, that's so crazy because this is what I'm talking about. That's how it's like he goes deep, man.
Yeah.
Like when he commits, it's like, all right, we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we started a Bible study, him and I. We got ourselves cute new Bibles and wanted to spend some time with each other, just going over some verses. We're very honest with each other in the sense that some of the stuff we read, we're like, what in the hell did this mean?
Yeah.
Or some of the stuff we're like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if we're receiving this properly. I don't know if we can learn from this. So we kind of approach it with these like no frills, no pressure. We're just trying to understand the word and, things like that. And then, I don't remember what we were disagreeing about, honestly. But I remember that how he handled it, I was like, is this what it feels like? Because I felt like he had so much grace. I'm like, is this what he felt when he felt like I had so much grace? And then I wondered, was this innate for you?
Right.
Like, is this how you just wanted to show up, or did you talk yourself through it? Because, we do gentle parenting. I'm talking myself through gentle parenting 100% of the time.
Yeah.
None of it is innate.
You got this, girl. You can do it.
I'm here like, honey, it seems like you're having a hard time.
You're like, I even have a belt on right now.
Exactly.
I even have
exactly.
I could just take it off right now. It's fine. You know what?
Yeah.
Tell me how you're feeling.
Yeah. And the thing is that when you go through everything that I've gone through with him, again, even if you're shown something, you have to be shown it over time.
Yes.
Consistently.
Yes.
In all scenarios. So, okay, you had grace with this disagreement, but will you have grace when something really stressful happens?
Yeah.
Will you have grace when you're offended?
It's also just a thing that women do.
Yeah.
As well. Like, we test because we are constantly looking for danger.
Yes.
And so we're trying to make sure your partner needs to be like the ultimate safety.
Yes.
And so your women, without realizing it, constantly test their men. And that's why men are kind of like, why you always nag me or do this stuff? So it's like, because subconsciously, we are testing you.
Yeah.
Because we're like, are you safe? Are you reliable? Will you love me unconditionally? Will you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember there was this one day that we were talking about God's plan when I got this job that I just got, because Brett has a new job that he's been in for a year, and he is thriving. Like, he loves it. He loves the people. They're so good for him. He's good for them. It's an amazing community. But he's not traveling for work, and that's how our whole life has been. He's always traveled for work. Well, I ended up being able to get a job that does need a lot of travel for work. So it would have never worked ever in another time. It would have never worked. But the way that he settled into his job, it was an opportunity for me. And it's something that I really love, can throw my whole heart, soul, body into it. And it just lights me up. And so we were kind of reflecting on how everything happened and where we've come from and what we've been through. Because it's not that you forget, but when you're raising kids and working, you're in this routine because you're just trying to make it through every day doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So you forget how hard you worked to get there.
Yeah.
And he was reflecting and he was quoting verses that I didn't even know. And from his Bible study, and he was talking about God's plan, and we were still stressed a little bit financially because it's been taking us a little bit to recover just because it was like 2 years of daycare or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, we're going to be good. Like, God's going to work it out for us like he's been doing this whole time. And something about that, I was like, oh, damn, he means it. Like, he really means it. And I remember I was laying in bed and I said, I see what you did there, God, because I was torn as to whether or not it was a good idea for us to stay together. And if I'm making the wrong decision because we have kids together, and, you overanalyze, and all I asked you for was that I needed a godly man. And you delivered. And you delivered with the person that I fell in love with however many years ago that I knew was who I was supposed to spend the rest of my life with, and however traumatic it was, I'm just so grateful because so many things that have happened would not have happened if
Yeah.
our entire life didn't fall apart. Because even in therapy, when I was thinking of putting my ring back on, I was telling her about it. And I'm like, I just feel like, is it stupid? Like, what if it happens again and I'm just an idiot? And I remember she was like, you got to stop worrying about if it happens again. She's like, bad stuff's going to happen to you. You got to remember that no matter what happens to you, you'll be fine.
Mm.
And so when you layer that with the fact that I'll be fine just with who I am, and then put it like, I'll definitely be fine because I'm on the path I'm supposed to be on, you're kind of like, okay, if I put my ring on and then we end up getting divorced in 2 years, I got 2 years of just a really great life. Like really, truly, like he's just such a partner, and not to knock him, but the way he is showing up for our family today makes me realize that he was so not a partner before.
Yeah.
And I was holding on to these little moments in time where I knew he had the foundation to be a really good partner, but just wasn't tapping into it. And now he's tapping into it and it's like full send. And he's just my guy. And I honestly, like, we walk through life together in this journey with faith, and we accept hesitation if we have hesitation. We accept questions if we have questions. We come across, like, we were reading the book of Daniel, and I'm like, this chapter is bonkers.
The book of Daniel is bonkers.
Dude. And we're like, so we're trying to decipher it, and we're trying to live life, and we reflect. We have these text messages sometimes where we're just sitting there watching our kids, and we're texting each other like, my gosh, how blessed are we?
Yeah.
Like how did we get here? And it's just so freeing because now I've got my guy. I trust in God fully because he brought me here. And it's just honestly been everything I've ever asked for, I've been given. Maybe I haven't been given the path to take that I would have preferred, some jagged edges and some sharp turns.
Yeah.
But I've been given, I wanted a godly man, and I've got one. I've wanted to live life with peace, and I've mostly got that, when I can think about it and focus. I'm very blessed with children. I've got a job that I love, a community that I love, friends that I love. And I'm just really, really loving it.
What does it feel like being able to share your faith with your partner?
I don't even know if I can describe it because we're still going through some times.
Yeah.
Like our kids, they're in a spicy age, spicy. And then just parenting in general is kind of tough. Full-time parenting is tough. Full-time jobbing is tough.
Yeah.
It is insane when you guys are on the same page and you just look at each other like, let's hash this out with each other. And then let's hash this out in front of God.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going to walk away with it with the same resolve.
Yeah.
And we're on the same page, and we've got this faith, and I know the phrase is like blind faith, and it has like a negative connotation to it, like blind faith. I'm with it.
I love that.
Give me the blind faith.
Yes.
Because to me, that means that there is no like ceiling to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
So it's pretty awesome. I mean, we're regular people, right? So we disagree, and he annoys me sometimes, and sometimes I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. Please go away.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, even the other day, we had a pretty large argument, a bigger one than we've had in the past. And I remember that in my initial soul,
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't talking to you for
The
the rest
pre-born
of the night.
again, Katrina.
Right. Like, yeah. BG.
Yeah.
BC.
Yeah, BC. Before God.
I was like, I ain't talking to you. Like, you're dead wrong. I'm in the right. You'll realize it when you sleep on it a little bit. Like, I'm out, whatever. I left the house and I drove around. It was like 11 p.m. and I listened to, it was the book of Matthew, I want to say. And, oh no, it was Ephesians. I can't remember, but I just played.
Very different.
I know. I'm sorry. I put in the Bible app, going through a hard time, and then it pulled up stuff, and I hit play. That's
Probably
basically-
Ephesians.
It was Ephesians.
Probably
Yeah,
Ephesians.
it was.
Ooh, Philippians is also great for that. If you need an encouraging,
I wonder which one.
if you
it
need
was.
an encouraging book, y'all, read Ecclesiastes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That was such a
Here's the whole Bible.
Yeah.
If you need some help.
What a
with-
Christian joke. Yeah, read.
Yeah.
No, but seriously though, read Philippians if you going through some
Yeah.
hard shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that book. Philippians.
So I
anyways.
literally typed in going through a hard time and hit play
Yeah.
on the Bible app, and I was driving and listening and they were, and maybe this will give clarity as to what chapter it is. I don't know what book
Yeah.
it was, but it was basically saying, like, don't succumb to the flesh.
Yeah.
You know, you are supposed to live through God's eyes, and God sent his one and only son to forgive the sins of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody should be loved the way God loves.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm hearing it and I'm like, but not Brent. Not Brent. Not today.
Yeah.
Not today. I'll love him tomorrow. Not today. So I keep listening because I'm like, I'm trying to rebound here, you know.
Give me the next chapter. We're not. This isn't working.
Yeah, because Brett can just go to sleep, like, and start over. Me, I'm like, you know, going through it.
Yeah. That's the difference, the fundamental difference between men and women.
Oh my gosh. Like, he's like sound asleep, I'm
Bro,
sure.
and they fall asleep so fast.
So fast.
And it almost makes
unbothered.
me, it makes me angry how
so
fast.
angry.
And then it keeps me up for longer because I'm angry with how fast you fell asleep.
And then I'm like, I'm gonna hold on to my anger till the morning.
Yes.
And you're gonna be over it.
And
And,
you're
I'm
gonna-
gonna give you a dose
Yes.
of what I'm feeling right now.
and you just fall asleep so fucking fast. You don't understand how stressed I am, and
Right.
my mind keeps racing. And you don't even try to settle it. And I don't know why you don't try to stop all my problems
Right,
for
I'm
me.
like
and
typing in my notes how I'm gonna communicate this to you, you know, whatever. And I'm like, you know, I just wish that if you loved me, you know, all this shit, whatever.
It's so real.
So I keep driving and I keep driving.
You would wait
and
till
it
I fell
keeps-
asleep.
If you loved me, you wouldn't have been able to fall asleep. You would have been in so much turmoil.
yes.
And then it was talking about, like, it's not your decision to decide when you love somebody through God's eyes.
Ooh.
And I'm like, you trying to talk to me live and in color right now? Like, because I'm shooting things up. Like,
Yeah.
well, I don't deserve this, and I don't this, and that, and you
that's
know,
the book of Katrina.
I know, right?
Chapter 4, verse
For real.
3. Don't even
For
worry
real.
about it.
Yeah. And I pull in, I finish, you know, whatever chapter it was, and I go in and I wake him up. And honestly, if I'm being honest, I'm waiting for him to give me some sass to be like, I tried, you know, sorry.
Yeah.
And I wake him up and I'm like, we can't end our night like this. We don't have to agree. We don't have to resolve. We need to bring it down to like a loving place and then say that we'll discuss this at another time. And that actually ended up into like an hour and a half conversation. We did have resolve. And honestly, at the end of the night, he was like, I'm so appreciative that you approached it like that because it's what I needed. And I forget sometimes, like, we're a team. And we are trying to like continue in this walk in faith. And that is what's important. And, you know, like almost everything, when you're upset with something, it's about something else and something else and something else. It's never what you're actually arguing about. And so it was this crazy feeling because I felt so liberated because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is how it's supposed to happen. There doesn't need to be a right and there doesn't need to be a wrong.
Yeah.
There just needs to be a us and God.
Yes.
That's it. And if you can put your pride away, which mine was like barely zipped up in my jacket.
Yeah.
You can do really great things, like really great things. And we grew from that. And it just gets me excited because I feel like we're just going to be able to approach things humanly, obviously, but with just this resource that we get to fall back on. Like I was lost. Like I wasn't like, I couldn't even recall the damn book that I was listening to. So I wasn't like, I'm going to look up verse, you know, blah, blah, blah. I was like going through a hard time. They pulled up a couple samples. I'm like, play, work some magic. Cause I want to kill him right now.
Yeah.
And that was pretty powerful.
Lord save him. Not me. Save him because I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah. Touch my heart, you know, cool it down because he's about to die.
Yeah. What do you tell people who are going through it? Like what, or even just tell yourself, if you could go back and talk to the Katrina who's crying, who's freaking out, who's, you know, in so many phases, you know, you went through so many phases, the initial heartbreak, the fear, the anxiety, the beginnings of faith, the questions, the uncertainty, the continual fear and anxiety. You know,
Yeah.
what do you say to that, Katrina?
Man, if I could say something to her, I would say you are where God wants you to be. And that's always going to be good enough.
And what if that Katrina was like, bitch, why?
You'll see. You'll see.
Wait and
honestly,
see.
I think that there's so much to it. Like, even when I go through frustrating times now, I'll be like, all right, I'm going to keep an eye out for what you're trying to teach me because this shit sucks right now. Like, but there's this like peace in the fact that I'm like, you are putting me through this. So I'm going to be more alert as to why.
Yes.
Instead of why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
If you love me, you wouldn't do this to me.
Yeah.
You know? And there has been people in my life that have had child loss and they've been able to keep their faith.
Right.
And so
that is
I'm like, okay, like I will follow your lead.
Yeah.
You know, so and not that there's not worse things, but in my life, like if I were to think of my worst nightmare, that's probably when it would get tested the most. So when I watch that that's not something that knocked you off the path, then I'm like, I'll walk your path.
Right. Right. Sometimes I think it's like you just got to stay on a need to know basis with the one who does.
Yeah.
And I think even that's for your best interest.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because for one, it could be like, okay, girlfriend, you're not going to be happy, but it's going to be another like year and a half of this. It's actually going to get a little bit worse before it gets better. Then you guys are going to end up loving each other and fall in love. And you're going to be like, ew, I love him again. Why? You know, like
from the moment that you
like,
would have been like, you're going to go into debt. I'm like, oh no, I'm out. Oh no, I'll find somebody else.
Yeah,
I'm good.
yeah.
Like, I can
right.
love somebody else.
And so I think it's like, he keeps us on a need to know basis because he's kind of like, if I told you, you wouldn't, you'd fuck it up. So,
for real.
You know, so it's like,
yeah,
I just need you. He almost is kind of like, I need you to get out of your own way and my way.
Well,
get out of my way. I'm trying to do
Bible
magic
somewhere in some chapter, in some book, in some verse. It talks about.
Can you tell that she's really devout?
Just
and
in it,
very much,
really in it.
Basically, like could be a pastor
tomorrow. It talks about how in your worst moment, when you are being tried the most, is when he wants you to show up for him the most.
Yes, that's where he wants you.
That is what he wants you to do. I mean, even I can remember a book of Daniel when they're going into that fire.
Yeah,
you know, and it's just like they're like, he's got me. If I die, that's all right.
That's
that
where
is
he
some
wanted serious faith. It is crazy what I've been kind of been going through my own little situation, and there's been only 2 distinct times where I've ever heard God actually like speak to me.
Yeah.
Like where you're like, oh, I actually hear a voice, and that's like not my voice. That is not me, you know?
Yeah.
But I think God speaks to you through a lot of different ways. And one of the things that I really felt, not spoken to me, but I felt in my soul was, I got so broken. I was just like, I have nothing I have nothing to give you. And I just immediately felt this feeling of, and that's exactly how I want you.
Yeah.
Like immediately back. And it wasn't a voice. It was just this feeling of like, good. You didn't really have anything before either. You know?
Yeah.
You thought you did. You had that worldly stuff.
Yeah.
You had the false sense of security,
right,
in the things that make you, you know, go to sleep better at night.
Right.
But you didn't actually have anything. In fact, you actually had less than anything because like you didn't really you weren't with me at the time.
Right.
So you're better off now actually than you were. You just think you're not.
Yeah.
Because walking in faith can be painful sometimes.
Right.
Honey. And when you walk in faith, like shit gets taken from you that you actually don't need or want really anymore. And so and it was stuff I asked for. You know, it's like idols that I prayed to be like, please remove this from me build me into the servant that you need me to become at any cost. That's a scary prayer. Like if you really think about it,
Yeah,
if
at
you're
any
really
cost, yeah.
if you're really thinking about that prayer, it's like I kind of knew. I was like, that's an intense prayer, and that is gonna be painful later. And it was, and it is, so but at the same time, I mean, I even prayed. I was like, and I'm going to try to fight you on it. So you have to make it so painfully, excruciatingly, I cannot fight you on it. That like I have nothing. And I'll tell you what, he ask and you shall receive, man. And
For real.
sometimes he works freaking quick.
Yeah.
And it was within 6 weeks. I was like literally on my
okay.
knees, like I have nothing. I
Yeah.
have nothing for you.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like, good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even like if I think back on the finances, like my whole world revolves around finances. Everything. Literally never took vacations, never wanted to do anything, never spent money, never, I mean, I cheaped out on hotels.
And I've seen the evolution of that in you.
Yeah.
And it's been a powerful one.
Yeah, it's because I just was so afraid of being financially stressed. God was like, "Oh, let me help you out, girl. I
Yeah.
got you." And
You don't even know financial stress
for
yet,
real.
honey.
And he was, but I know that he wanted to reshift my focus on like what is actual, like what is rich, what is being rich in real life, like what does that actually look like?
Amen.
And it's having your family and memories and all that. And not saying that now I'm like, oh, if my lights turn off or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I'm definitely in a place of like weighing things like, will these memories be epic? I'll figure it out later then.
Yeah.
I'll just go do it. Where before I'm like, oh, but this money could go here and this money could go here. And if I spend it, then it doesn't go here. That financial strain that we were in was so interesting because you would think I would have turned on Brett, but it actually made us stronger. And I was surprised. I'm sure he was surprised because he knows I'm a crazy person when it comes to finances. But I actually was pretty surprised that it wasn't like a tit for tat. And I didn't view him in a negative light because we were so focused on my family. I was just so elated that we were on the same page and grooving and our kids were thriving. And that was important. And that became clearer and clearer as time passed. And I'm like, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. And I know that a constant prayer that I have when we do communion and stuff like that at church is I do always, because she didn't know it at the time, I don't think, but she was a doorway to me getting to this church and starting my journey with faith. I do always pray that God also uses me as a pathway or a doorway for others
Yeah.
to want to talk about faith
Yeah.
on a very basic level.
Yeah.
Like maybe here's where you start, you know? So that's something that I hope to put into practice.
Yeah.
As much as I can.
I think you already do. I think you do in more ways than you know. But I think such a valuable lesson is like walking in faith is always a beautiful experience, but it isn't always easy.
No, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's such a rewarding thing, but it's not an easy thing to do.
Mm-mm.
And when you're in the throes of it, if you're in the throes of it, know that it actually does get better. Like the cliche, it gets better.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
And it mostly gets better because when it's so bad, you get shaped into something really, really powerful.
Yeah, it's an internal shift. And you're just like, holy cow.
Like the physical blessings and the rewards externally that you receive, I think are powerful as well. But part of it is like who you are fundamentally shifts and your perception of life, like life and reality changes for you after that for the better.
Yeah.
And it's the hard times, like to me, when you're walking in faith, it's like they don't make you a harder person. They make you a stronger person.
They do. And they actually make you a more loving person because you're like, this is a hard time, but God's with me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to approach it. I'm going to approach it with love and kindness. And what's crazy is fear, hesitation. You can approach it with all of those things as long as you're approaching it, as long as you're walking on that
Right.
path.
Yeah, walking in faith doesn't also have to be this like mystical, magical thing where you're like, I'm just doing it, and I feel so blissful during the process. You know, like you can, I'm sure you had this too, and I have it, which is like I go in prayer and I'm constantly like, why?
Yeah.
And there are days when I've literally said, like, I've prayed, I've been like, today, it is very hard to walk with you. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just going to let you know, like, today I don't want to walk in faith. Today I'm struggling with this. Today, I don't know why, you know. I come to, like, I get annoyed. I will say, I'm so afraid. I have no idea what's going on. I know you have a plan for this, but I do not understand it. And I feel so blind to all of it right now.
Yeah.
And the faith feels hard today. Life feels heavy today. You know, it's like the stuff and the ickiness inside that you feel sometimes, like, it doesn't go away.
No.
But that's part of the scriptures. It's like, take your fears and your anxieties and give them to God. And it's not in like I give them to him and they're gone. It's he's going to hear them, and he's going to listen to you, and he's going to say, like, and it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
And also, girlfriend, keep feeling that way if you need to.
Yeah.
But also, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Because it still got you the whole time.
There's just no rules. Like, I think that where we've gotten so lost, and where maybe people like me, maybe people like you kind of revolted
Yeah.
against religion as opposed to faith, is that we put so many rules.
Yes.
You know, so many rules. Like, and the reality is that there's not that many. There's 10 that we know of. And then there's keep trying and keep walking in faith. It is not a clean journey. It's messy. It's very messy, but it's supposed to be that way. So you can't do it wrong.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to do it. You have to do it.
God knows you're sinful. He sent his son to die for you.
Right.
Like, there was a messiness that paid your penance.
Right.
To continue to be messy.
Right.
Because he knew you was going to do it.
Right. Right.
You knew you were going to keep being messy.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe the mess is intentional, you know, because it's always God's plan. So you feel like it's messy. He feels like you're on track, you know? So I think that what's important is that you're just doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest with yourself. I know that sometimes I'm too tired to pray. I want to connect and I'm like, I'm tired. And I'll be like, listen, I'm just going to sit here and I will listen to you.
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Yeah.
And honestly, more than a handful of times, a name will pop in my head that I haven't thought about in a long time. And I'll text them, hey, don't know if this means anything, but I'm sitting here in my car trying to listen to God, and your name popped in my head. And like 2 or 3 times, I've sent them to Brett too, because he's like, holy cow. They've been like, oh my gosh, it's crazy that you reach out. I'm actually struggling.
Yeah.
Like, I'm struggling hard.
Yeah.
Or my family's going through it. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. God wanted me to know that. And he wanted me to reach out to you. And so there wasn't even any prayer. I was just like, yo, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Your girl's tired.
Yeah.
Brain's not working.
Give me
Ears are.
just give me a task.
Yeah, yeah. Just use me. Like, I'm tired.
I don't want to connect with you, but yeah, I know. Well, Kat, I love you, and I thank you so much for telling me and sharing this story of yours, because it really, really is powerful. It's impacted me in a deep way.
Oh,
and
I love that.
And I think that it's something that will really touch other people.
Mm-hmm.
And just being able to also see, you know, obviously not everyone who's listening to this intimately knows you and your relationship and your family, but like to be a witness to how beautiful your kids are, how beautiful your relationship is.
Oh,
just how beautiful you are. I think it's like, you would see it. It's so funny too, because this is like how, you know, successful people respond to things, but it's like you would see it and you'd be like, I just want your family and your couple and your life, and you're like, oh, the things I had to go through to get it, you know?
like,
but you are a family and a unit and a person who people really can look at and just be like, God, that's awesome. Like that is amazing. And so I'm just so happy for you.
Thanks.
I'm so happy for where you
Thank
are
you.
in your life. And I think it's really only going to become more beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's been a ride, but it's been a good one. It's been a good one.
It's been fun. I've been there for some of the bumps. They're funny.
You've been there for most of the recent bumps.
Yeah, most of the recent bumps. Some
Yeah.
of the older ones, I was too busy putting around the gym, being mean and angry.
Yeah, pretending like you didn't know me at all.
Look, I had
past that.
I had a reputation to uphold. No, seriously, I really was just like had no business talking with people. It actually served me well. I have like legend status at that gym now. Which I'm like, I feel like legends are supposed to be either old or dead, so I don't really know if I like that. But I do have legend
You're like an
status.
old soul. That's
Yeah,
why.
sure. Sure. Well, I love you.
I love you more.
I love you guys.
Thanks
I'll
for having
catch
me.
you guys next week. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, for real. Bright and early. Bye.